Hi one and all, Malomedic here. So today we'll be dealing with the part 2 of the morphology of flowering plants. So let's begin. So yesterday we have learned about the root system, the types of roots and the modifications of the roots. So today we'll learn about the shoot system, and within shoot system you have your stem and your leaves. So now let us first learn about the stem, the parts of the stem, the basic concepts of the stem and the modifications. So what are the basics that you have to learn? Let us first look at the parts of the stem. So as you all know, the stem is developed from the plumule. And what was the plumule? It was the upper part of the embryonal axis. The embryo has two parts, the cotyledons and the embryonal axis, and the upper part of the embryonal axis, which is known as plumule. All right. So stem develops from the plumule. Now let us look at its parts. So here we draw a conventional stem. We have some roots over here. Okay. So the point of the stem from where the leaves arises is known as the node. Node. All right. And let me also draw another leaf over here arising from a different node. Okay. So the part of the stem in between two adjacent or successive nodes is known as internode. So this part is known as internode. Also, the stem also has two buds. What are those buds? They are the apical bud and axillary bud. Apical and axillary bud. All right. So the apical buds are found at the tip of the plant. At the tip they are found. They are the apical buds. If the buds are seen in the lateral or in the side positions of the plant, then we call it as, see, if we have a bud over here, then we call it as axillary bud. So I hope you have learned what are the buds and where are they present and what are the types of the buds in a stem. Now let us look at the functions of the stem in the plant. It helps in the conduction of water, minerals and photosynthesis. So what do we understand from here? Yes, what we understand is that the water collected by the root has to reach the leaves for photosynthesis, right? For that, the stem helps in the transport, and in the leaves photosynthesis takes place. So the products of photosynthesis, which are the photosynthetes, have to be also transported to the roots, right? So stem plays a role in there. Now the second function is to spreading of branches wherein leaf, flowers and fruits arises. All right. The stems give rise to branches, and these branches are developed from the axillary buds, and these branches bears the leaves, flowers and fruits. Now let us look at, if any other function is bared by the stem, then we call it as a modification. So let us look at the modifications. So first of all, you have for food storage, you have to learn few examples like Zameen Kant. Another name for Zameen Kant is Amorphophallus. Then we have ginger. Then potato, turmeric and colocasia. These are the modifications of the stem and the example. Now, having learned the modification for food storage, now let us learn how it helps as a stem tendril. So I'm just erasing this off. Let's see the modification for stem tendril. So basically, in the stem, for example, this is a stem, the axillary bud develops. So the fate of the axillary bud is to become the branch. But if it doesn't become a branch, then it develops into form stem tendril. For what? It helps the plant to climb up. It helps the plant to climb up. And the basic examples that you have to learn are cucumber, bougainvillea, cucumber, pumpkin, grapevine, and watermelon. So these are the examples that you have to learn for stem tendrils. So now let us move on to thorns. So these are a protective mechanism for the plant. And the examples that you have to learn are bougainvillea and citrus. Bougainvillea and citrus. Alright, now let us move on to learn what is a phylloclad. So before understanding what's a phylloclad, you have to learn the examples opuntia and euphorbia. These are desert plants, so they can't lose much water from the stem surface. So the stem modifies to become opuntia, or its other name is cactus. So the stem here modifies to become a flattened green structure, which is also photosynthetic. Alright, this is to reduce transpiration, and all this you will learn in your respiration in plants chapter. And over here the leaves are reduced to become spines. Alright, the leaves are reduced to become spines. Now, and in euphorbia, instead of this flattened structure, here you have multiple number of cylindrical structures. Okay, so that completes the phylloclad. Now let us see what's a stolon. So you have to learn the examples for stolon as you have to learn the example jasmine and mint. So in stolon what happens is that, for example, here we have a plant. Suppose this is a jasmine plant. One of the aerial branches here bends and touches the soil, and the point where it touches the soil, a root develops and another plant develops. Alright, so this type of phenomenon is known as stolon, and this phenomenon is seen in, or this modification of stem is seen in jasmine and mint. So I hope you have understood this. Now let us move on to learn what's an offset. So let's see what's an offset. So first of all you have to learn the example pistia and eichhornia. So in offset you have multiple or numerous nodes together. So from nodes leaves arises, right? So you have several nodes together in a cluster, and then the internode is large. Okay, internode is large, and you have another cluster of nodes far by. So this type of modification of stem is known as offset, and it's seen in pistia and eichhornia. So having learned that, let us move on to learn what's a sucker. So the examples for sucker that you have to learn is chrysanthemum, pineapple and banana. Alright, so let me teach you. For example, I'll draw a banana plant over here. For For example, let us consider this to be a banana plant. So which is the stem? Do you think this is the stem? No, this is the pseudo stem. It's actually a leaf. But the actual stem of the banana plant lies beneath the soil. And from there, a branch arises, and this branch helps in the development of a next banana plant. So this type of phenomenon or modification of stem is known as sucker, and the examples are chrysanthemum, pineapple and banana. So now you have learned the root system and about the stems. Now let us learn something about the leaves. So first of all, let us start with the parts of the leaf. So I would like to draw a leaf for you, and let us learn its parts. Okay, in black I will draw the stem. Okay, so these are the parts of the plant. So let's see. First of all, we have a leaf base. So what is a leaf base? Leaf base is the point where from the node the leaf arises in the from the stem. Then we have, this is the leaf base, and then we have the leaf stalk, or in other terms we call it as petiole. All right, now this petiole, the extension of the petiole into the leaf lamina is the midrib or the vein. All right, then this the whole leaf as a whole, this part of the leaf we call it as the leaf lamina. All right, then the extensions of the midrib or the midvein extends as veinlets. Okay, these are the veinlets. And then when you look at the base of the when you look at the leaf base, you'll also find another one structure known as stipule. So what is a stipule? It is a leaf. So what is a stipule? Stipules are the small leaf like structures in the leaf base. Okay, it's a small leaf like structure in the leaf base. All right, so if a leaf has a stipule, then we call it as stipulate leaf, and if stipule is absent, then we call it as exstipulate leaf. Are you getting the concepts? All right, then we have some modifications of the leaf base in few plants. Let's see. So in leguminous plants, in leguminous and mimosa plants, here the leaf base, there is a modification of the leaf base. Here the leaf base becomes swollen. Here the leaf base is swollen, and then the leaf base of leguminous and mimosa plants, what do we call them? We call them as pulvinous. All right, now a second category is that in monocot plants, we are talking about monocot plants. In monocot plants, the leaf base forms a sheath over the stem, or it covers the stem. It will be something like this. This leaf base, it will cover the stem as a sheath. All right, so that's about the parts of the leaves. Now let us look at the venation. What do you understand by the term venation? It's the arrangement of the veins on the leaf lamina. So what is it? Arrangement of leaves, veins on leaf lamina. All right, so we have two types of venation. Reticulate venation is seen in dicot plants, and parallel venation is seen in monocot plants. So what do you understand by reticulate venation? I'll help you with a diagram. Let's see, I have drawn a leaf over here. Here what happens is that you have the midrib, and the midrib extends out, giving several branches. This happens in dicot plants. So this we call it as reticulate venation. On the other hand, I'll draw another leaf. Okay, what happens in parallel venation with monocot plants is that you have parallel venation. The veins are parallel to one another. So that completes the division of venation. Now it's time for us to understand what are the types of leaves. So we have simple leaf and compound leaf. Let's see. For example, I'm drawing a branch over here. Then from the node we have a leaf. From the node we have a leaf, and if its lamina is entire, if the lamina is entire, we call it as a simple leaf. And at the base of the leaf you have an axillary bud. Alright, this is a simple leaf. But what do you understand by a compound leaf? Let me illustrate. So here let me draw a branch. Then I would like to draw the petiole or the leaf stalk. Here the leaf stalk extends and there are several small leaflets arising from the midrib. So the midrib over here, it has another name. It's known as rachis. And you don't have axillary buds at each leaflets. You don't have this. But what do you have? You have just one axillary bud at the leaf base. Have you understood this? Alright. So in compound leaf is again divided into pinnately compound and palmately compound leaf. So pinnately compound is something like this. Alright. And it's also, and you have to learn an example, neem. Now let me erase this so that to save some space. So what do you understand by palmately compound leaf? Palmately compound leaf goes something like this. Here at the rachis, at a single point you have several leaflets. This is not a flower. These are several veinlets. I mean leaflets. And you have your axillary bud over here. If this is the case, we call it as palmately compound leaf. And an example that you have to learn from your NCERT text is silk cotton. So I hope you have understood the classification of leaves based on its types. Now it's time for us to understand what is a phyllotaxy. So phyllotaxy is the arrangement of leaves on the stem. All right. So let me draw a stem. If leaves are arising on the stem from nodes in an alternate manner like this, then we call it as alternate phyllotaxy. And you have to learn the examples: China rose, mustard, and sunflower. Now what about opposite phyllotaxy? Let me draw another stem, and you have the leaves arising from the nodes opposite to one another. So this type is seen in guava, calotropis. Alright. Now let us understand what's a whorled type of phyllotaxy. Okay, here the leaves arise from a single node. Multiple leaves arises from a single node. So this type of phyllotaxy is known as whorled type. And you have the examples. You just need to learn one example, which is Alstonia. So that completes the classification based on phyllotaxy. Now let us learn the leaf modifications. So you have modifications like tendrils. Last time when you met tendrils were the modification of stem, and you learn the examples over there. Here you have to learn an example piece. Now spines, you have already learned the example cactus. In cactus the leaves are modified into spines. For storage you have to learn an example onion. Then what's about phyllodes? So phyllodes is a type of modification of leaf seen in acacia plant. So these live in very dry habitat, so they have to prevent transpiration so that the leaf lamina will be reduced, and the petiole takes the function of photosynthesis. All right, so this is the case. Now insectivorous plants, these in insectivorous plants the leaf modify so that they can capture insects. So you have to learn the example pitcher plant and Venus flytrap. So that completes the session for today. Thank you for your patient listening.